What's up, Rapids fans? And on this week's edition of The Rundown presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, the Rapids fall short in the Bronx, but now have to look ahead for a trip to Sporting Kansas City on the weekend, and then we go off the pitch with Jackson Travis. Let's get into it. Welcome, everybody, to the Colorado Rapids podcast and this week's edition of The Rundown presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. I'm your host, Mike Ravolo, alongside my good friend and resident Rapids legend, Drew Moore. Drewby, as always, as I'll ask you to start off the show on a fine Tuesday afternoon, almost said morning. How we doing, man?
I'm good, man. It does kind of still feel like morning. I feel like people don't realize behind the scenes, like, we're running around. Like,
it is a bit of a madhouse.
It seems like we got it all put together and we're cool, calm, and collected all the time. But man, like, we go from, well, me personally, I go from, the meetings and session preparation, and then onto the field for the session, and then straight up here. Sometimes I don't even get to shower, especially this time of year. Yeah, I know.
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Okay, Miles. Yeah, you guys too. But that being said, I always love sitting at this couch and ready to chat with mi hermano and talk Rapids. You know?
Man, I always look forward to my Tuesday mornings, Tuesday afternoons with you, man. It's just fun to talk Pids, man. Like, it doesn't get much better than this, I would say.
No.
Listen, we'll get into it, but obviously the result wasn't ideal, right? That's the one thing that kind of throws everything off a little bit, but could be worse.
How are you doing? You always start off by asking me how I'm doing. How are you doing, Mike?
Thank you for asking, mi querido viejo. So I was a little bummed last week because it was not long after we filmed the podcast last week where I was like, not feeling too hot. I think I did mention it to you, and I was like, I know, I'll see you at training on Thursday, whatever. But like later on in the day, like just before leaving the office, I was like, something doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I just came down with a cold.
Oh,
Nothing
you
crazy.
can feel it coming, right?
It's one of those where it's like a little bit in your throat. You're like, oh, what's going on? You just feel it.
Yeah.
And was out for the rest of the week. Did not travel to New York. I was meant to travel.
You didn't end up going. See, this is how crazy we are before we start. We don't even talk about like.
Could have traveled on Friday, the day before the match on Saturday, but I don't know if I wanted to infect the rest of the team with what I had, and then I don't know how that would sit with everybody.
Yeah.
So I was like, we're gonna have to
probably
change
not
gears
great.
and
Probably not great.
Probably not.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just play it safe. Be ready for this weekend where I plan to travel actually to KC this weekend.
Okay.
So which will be nice. Hopefully walk away with all 3 points. Knock on wood.
Maybe it was you. Maybe you were the difference this last weekend, not going.
I don't think so.
Okay, well.
I'm not of that belief exactly.
Yeah.
I
don't either, but I gave you the opportunity.
More qualified people that we have on the roster that might influence that a little bit more, but I appreciate the thought.
Hey, everybody has their.
I can see the gears turning in your head. It's like, what else could I say to make Mike
everybody
sound like he's
is a
something
piece
more?
to the puzzle. All right, everybody is a piece to the puzzle, including you.
I was just bummed I missed the trip last week, bro. But it is what it is. You deal with it, you run with it, and you go adjust, and hopefully, knock on wood, that going to KC this weekend, and like I said, we're walking away with 3 points from there. And then little thing I actually wanted to mention before we get into the match recap against NYCFC over the weekend was Denver Summit.
Yeah,
our good friends, the NWSL team, NWSL franchise. And one of the co-creators rather of the club, which is crazy to say, our good friend Jordan Angeli, who y'all can watch and listen to on The Conversation.
Yeah, she's awesome.
As a part of the Colorado Rapids podcast. She's awesome, man. Like she's it's quite unbelievable, like the scope of what she covers, like the soccer landscape. Calling games on the weekend for NWSL. She's, like I mentioned, she's a co-creator of a football club, which is crazy to say. And to do it for her hometown in Denver is in her home state of Colorado is quite something. So I just wanted to shout that out. That Denver Summit officially played their first match on the weekend, and obviously we're sending our well wishes and all the best to Jordan Angeli, who obviously a good friend of ours that has been a part of that process.
I think there's 4 of her.
You'd have to think, man,
because
with the way she's here and there and everywhere. Like it's impressive.
Yeah.
Like it is nothing short of impressive in terms of what she has done, what she continues to do, and what I think, we're going to look forward to seeing her influence the soccer landscape here, especially with NWSL on the women's side moving forward.
Yep.
Just wanted to quickly shout out the Denver Summit in that sense, because with our good friend Jordan Angeli being involved in that, very heavily involved in that, very happy to see Denver Summit get started.
Absolutely.
So, and with that, Drew, shall we get into it? NYCFC versus Colorado on the weekend.
Let's pull the Band-Aid off.
Let's just rip it right off because we have no choice at this point. So this is NYCFC versus the Colorado Rapids. The last time these two played each other was in 2024. The Rapids got a 2-0 result. Could they repeat their good fortunes? Well, not off to the best start here, Drew. In the 22nd minute, Nico Fernandez Marca with the goal. New York City 1, Colorado Rapids 0.
Yeah, a couple, I think poor decisions from the Rapids, and we get punished for it by a good player. And it was a little bit the theme on the night. Nico, he's a goal poacher and punishes us here.
Moving ahead later in the first half, Drew, 45th minute late in the first half, a free kick up from Nico Fernandez Marca, 2-0 New York City.
And again, to continue with the theme, I think it's a poor foul to give away, and then the wall splits. And it was just, these little things on the night that, really put us in this 2-0 hole, and we could have caved here in this moment right before halftime. But I love the response, and this goal from Yappy is class, and you can just see the back four of New York City get so narrow, and Hoffa sees Darren Yappy, and give him a little bit of hard time about the first touch, but he's clean with the second touch, allows a little bit of separation from the left back, and the finish is absolutely class. And this was in a big moment right before halftime to give us some belief coming out in the second half here, Mike.
Yeah, Yappy making it 2-1, but in favor of New York, but Colorado would look to fight back eventually. But 67th minute, Nico Hansen with the big save here.
It's a huge save, and he does so well, getting out quick, cutting off the angles for Wolf, and kept us in the match in that moment. But then, and I think the third one here, Mike, is the real backbreaker, because it's a little bit in transition, but we have good numbers there, and we don't defend it well. Nobody really steps to Maxi Morales, and nobody tracks the run of Tyus Mango, and yeah, again, just the theme on the night, punished because of things that are fixable, fortunately, and that we could have done better, but we didn't on the night.
Yep. So real quick, Drew, we're going to go through the match stats here before I get your thoughts on it.
And I just realized I said Tyus Mango and not Tyus Magno, so
flip the N and the G and you're good.
I'm hungry, all right?
So match stats here for y'all. So in terms of goals is NYCFC, who had 3 on the night, 1 for Colorado. Total shots, 13 for New York City, 8 for Colorado. Shots on target, 8 for NYC, 2 for Colorado. Corners, 4 apiece for either side. And then finally with possession, New York City had 41% versus Colorado's 59%. Drew, your thoughts on that match between NYCFC and the Colorado Rapids on the weekend?
Yeah, I think, Mike, and I'm going to say it first before anything, and it might frustrate some people, but I do feel like we have to remember we're still only 6-7 weeks into a very different style and system of play. And we said it a couple weeks ago that this is still it's a process, and it's going to be a longer process than probably, if you're a diehard Rapids fan, then you really want it to be. But you have to understand that's what it is. And we did a lot of really good things on the night, right? The build out was really good. The confidence on the ball, bringing New York City into uncomfortable spots was really, really good, And I think where we just missed a bit was in the attacking third, right? Turning those good opportunities, the good play, into goals and into really good chances. But that's where, once we tie all of it together, and I do think the final third quality is kind of it's the most difficult part, but it's also sometimes the last thing that comes in a season, and I do have faith that it will. And we have shown it in moments, right, that we can be ruthless in the attacking third. We beat LA Galaxy 4-1 just the previous weekend, But during the highlights, just a couple things that we didn't quite get right, and we got punished for because of it, and we weren't able to turn that around on New York City and punish them in some of the good moments that we did have.
I will reemphasize that point that you made, Drew, that this is a process, right? It's listen, I'd be lying through my teeth if I didn't say, like, you're disappointed with the result, right? Like,
of course,
players, like, they will tell you the same thing.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that this is a process. Mm-hmm. Like, if it were up to Matt Wells, everybody would pick everything up and go in terms of the X's and O's and everything he expects from every single player and just run with it. But that's just not how things work, in terms of implementing your style of play or just in any aspect of life, quite frankly. Yeah. Everything takes time and adjustment, and there's a learning period to everything as well. But once you get it, you'll get it going, right? And like you said, Drew, we have seen at bare minimum like elements, but I think overall there's been good stretches of play in the matches we've played so far as the Rapids, where you can see exactly what Matt Wells wants to do and how good this team can look, how dangerous this team can look. when they implement it, right? And this match against NYCFC felt you could see a little bit of the process. It's going to be a process, right? But there were good things as well. I think that's another thing that we always mention after every loss, more often than not, if there are things to pull from, right? Matt Wells mentioned in his postgame presser, Keegan Rosenberry, he mentioned in his postgame presser, obviously disappointed with the result, but you have to be able to pull the good things that the Rapids implemented on the night against NYC, because then if you don't, if you just kind of go into the next match with like a clean slate but have no reference point in terms of what you should be doing, what you should not be doing, things, so on and so forth, then it doesn't really give you a basis to work off of as a player. And as a player, I'd imagine you want as much clarity as possible, which again, I think you see from Matt Wells and the coaching staff and how he implements that to provide the players the opportunity to just go again and be ready for the next match despite the loss on the weekend. And
you talked about Matt's post-match presser, and I love it because you can hear the frustration in his voice. I don't love that, obviously, but you can hear the frustration of his voice because of he knows what the answers are. He knows where the difference was, right? Where we didn't get something right, and that's why we were punished for it, or that's what we need to fix. And that gives me a lot of faith, and it should give all of us a lot of faith that it is going to get sorted. It's not like he's just out there throwing things against the wall and hope it sticks, or, this happens and we should have done this. No, like, we have a style, we have a system that is going to take some time for everybody to get on the same page and for everybody to learn and to go out there and experience. And you look at the Galaxy game. We were upset that we weren't physical enough. We allowed the Galaxy to play through us a little bit more. Their build-out play was much better than we wanted it to be. That wasn't the case. New York City didn't do that. New York City punished us because of some of the errors that we made, right? Which we didn't make against the Galaxy. And we were ruthless against the Galaxy when we got into the final third in moments, And so you can see some differences. But, if we get all this kind of put together a little bit more for longer periods and longer spells, which I anticipate that we will as the season goes on, then it's going to look really, really good. And some of these, mistakes that we made are going to get cleaned up, and we're not going to get as, punished as often as we did in New York City. Yeah,
that's the encouraging thing, Drew, for me at least, is seeing that these were kind of self-inflicted wounds to some extent, right? Where you look at the first goal. I mean, Matt, in his postgame presser, literally laid out how he envisioned the play playing out.
Exactly.
Or, you could go wide with Keegan instead of playing through the middle in the pocket, where I think Paxton was the one that got beat to it was just a big body on him, right? And then before you know it, New York City scores, right? So Matt is literally walking through these plays as the press pool is asking him, what did you see in this and this and whatnot, and that's what gives me a lot of encouragement. It's just, if we fix our own mistakes, we're good. Because we have very clearly seen against the Galaxy and against the Portland Timbers here at home, and even in some good stretches against NYCFC, that if the Rapids do their thing, they apply their style of play, are cohesive, and minimize the mistakes. Listen, mistakes are going to happen regardless. It doesn't matter what game or who you are.
Of course.
They're going to happen. But if you can minimize that and you're the Rapids, more often than not, I feel like you're going to walk out with all 3 points. But then when those self-inflicted wounds kind of come around, the first goal, all 3 goals, really, quite frankly, Drew, you minimize those, that the Rapids are just going to be very, very hard to beat. But the Rapids will just have to look at themselves first before they move forward and look ahead to try to find those opportunities to get 3 points. But I think that's what gives me the most encouragement, I think, at the end of the day. Drew, is just fix your own stuff, and you're good from there. So
yeah, and let's talk about a couple players that are starting to rack up the goal contributions, and maybe on a frustrating night, even we see a moment of class and quality between Rafa Navajo and Darren Yappy on the goal. We just saw the highlights of it. We want to see this more. We wish we had seen this more against New York City, but those two are starting to develop a nice little connection, a nice little partnership. Whichever side Yappy plays on. And Rafa, continues to get himself around the field, and this is what you want. You want these guys getting goals, scoring goals, getting assists, being dangerous, and that goal was a touch of class. That you go on the road, difficult place to play against New York City. You see, it's not easy, but how easy it can look, right? Once you do kind of break that first line and get after their back line, get after the opposition's back line, and put them in comfortable positions. You can score some nice goals and create some nice opportunities from them.
Yeah, with that duo that you mentioned, Drew, Darren Yappy and Rafa Navajo, 6 goal contributions in the last 2 matches from those two. 2 goals and 1 assist for each of them. So the stats there are kind of speaking for itself in terms of their influence on the game for the Rapids. Whether you look at stats or whether you look at how they're playing, it shows either which way that you want to look at it. Yappy's a problem to try to defend.
He is.
Because for me, when I watch him, the way he goes, he's typically out wide, but with someone as big, as strong, and as fast as he is, who like starts out wide but then dribbles across the back line. I'd imagine, Drew, I mean, you fill me in on this, Drew, like you as a center back. Like I'd imagine if you see someone kind of just doing that kind of operating in these awkward spaces, if you're a defender, you don't know whether to kind of step in, but then that's where Yappy plays the ball into a Hoffa or somebody who makes the run, or if you kind of step back and let him take the shot and hope your keeper is up to it to block the shot. I just feel like Yappy's a real problem to try to defend.
He is, and I think he has even more. I think he has even more goals. He has even more assists, and I think this style of play is really gonna, it really suits the wingers to use your physicality and your pace and your athleticism, right? Like he's got power. Like if you go into a tackle with him, he's probably gonna come out on top. If you give too much space behind you and he knocks the ball into space and goes, like you're gonna have a hard time catching him. He's got a great shot, and I think Yappy and Dante Seeley and Alexis Manjoma and Alex Harris, like this system is, caters towards some of the creativeness and directness that these guys have. I want to see even more from these guys, unbalance on the wing and get crosses and get shots and win set pieces and all those things. I let's see even more from these guys.
Yeah. Yep. I fully agree. And then one last little thing I wanted to throw in there before we kind of moved on, unless you had anything else, Drew, is for Mamadou Bilo, as we call him around here. Bilo, he was able to make his first team debut on the weekend. And Matt had mentioned that, he in his post-game presser, Matt talked about how Bilo has shown moments where he's still a young player. So there's things that come with being a young player, right, where you're trying to understand things about being a pro to begin with, right? Like that is a thing. And then trying to cement himself and understand what Matt is asking of him specifically and the role that he plays, if he were to start a match, if he's on the pitch with the guys for 90 minutes from the get-go. It's not easy, man. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, it's just not easy to put yourself into that position and try to earn a starting spot, whether you're at the Rapids or literally anywhere else around the world, trying to earn a spot, earn a contract, which obviously Bilo did on the first team side of things. So just want at least shout out Bilo for that with getting his first team debut on the weekend. He's still young, man, which is wild. Like with that, and seeing what he's capable of doing when we saw him with Rapids to help them take them to MLS Next Pro Cup last year. Bilo's something, man. He's someone to keep an eye on if you're a Rapids fan.
He is, and those are valuable minutes, right? Yeah. Like for a young player who has been training with the first team really since the start of preseason. We saw what he can do last year with R2. He can score goals in bunches. He causes problems with, again, a lot of what we want to see in a 9 or 10 position. He's athletic, he's big, he's strong. He's got a really high ceiling, and we feel that way. And so even to just get 10, 15 minutes is massive for his confidence and his personality, and I love seeing it. And hopefully there's more to follow, right? But it was so nice seeing him make his debut.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so super excited for Bilo and hopefully that's just the beginning of something.
Yes,
the very, very beginning of hopefully what is going to be an incredible career for Bilo. Hopefully more often than not here with the Rapids. Unless you had anything else, Drew, that's kind of all I had really for that match. Listen, it's the loss. We want to move on, but like we talk about all the time after most losses when there is something, right? Take the positives that you can from those losses, which there was plenty.
Yep.
There's plenty to take from this match, despite the loss, despite the result. But I'm more encouraged than anything, despite the result. Honestly, Drew. Again, like we just talked about it, where I think we avoid those self-inflicted wounds. The Rapids are a problem in this league. They're going to be a problem for a lot of teams in this league because we clearly the Rapids clearly showed, even on the road and especially here at home. But this last weekend at Yankee Stadium on the road against NYCFC, there are moments where NYCFC did struggle. Right, to be fair, they were good on the night. I think that the NYCFC was good on the night and took advantage of those moments that the Rapids were not up to it in the moment, because this game is about moments, right? But you saw NYCFC kind of struggle in some stretches. The Rapids had possession, especially in the second half with some of the chances the opportunities and the places that they were putting themselves in, the positions they were putting themselves in to try to score goals, right? Maybe missing a little bit of that conviction in the final third. but I'm encouraged more than anything, Drew. Like I said, I'd be lying through my teeth if I said I'm not disappointed with the result, but I'm encouraged nonetheless in terms of where this process is going, where we're going as the Rapids under Matt Wells and the way he wants this team to play.
Good, because I'm encouraged too. And the cool thing is they play again on Saturday night. So another opportunity to go put it all together.
Yeah, man, for sure. But before we get to that match and look ahead, we're going to put a cap on NYCFC versus the Rapids, like we said. Disappointed, but we move on. And now we're going to move on to Off the Pitch with defender Jackson Travis. All right, everybody, we are going off the pitch with none other than defender Jackson Travis. Jacksinho, how are we doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. We're doing well. We're happy to have you in the studio because we did get you remotely on the podcast last season, but it's nice to have you in studio, in person with us. So welcome to the podcast, man. So Jax, just to get things started here with the first question that I had in terms of on the field matters, right? So with Matt Wells, he came in this offseason and I think really left his mark and has made an impact on the group pretty quickly. What's it been like to play under Matt in the few months that he's been with the club and implement his style of play? And what have you learned or taken note of ever since he's been here at the club?
Yeah, I mean, it's been new, but for me, I think it's been really exciting. I think for the group, it's been really exciting because it's a whole new style. It's a whole new, a new style that we have never, really played with before. But, I mean, I think we can see the success that we're getting on the field right now, with just our playing style. So, I mean, it's been really fun for somebody in my position, like a fullback, being able to bomb on how we've been able to do. So, I mean, for me, I've been enjoying it a lot. And I think he's implemented this style of just sure-out aggression, which we haven't necessarily really done in the past. But, I mean, now everybody's seeing it, what we're doing. So it's been fun. I think a lot of guys have been enjoying it. I think we're going to keep pushing it forward. So, yeah.
What about for you personally, Jackson? Because you had a great preseason. You've got a nice run of games. You're healthy. You look really, really good. What do you think has been different at the start of this season so far than maybe in past couple seasons that's allowed you this nice run of games that you've had?
Yeah. I mean, I think one thing for sure is the health part. I think being healthy is the most important part. And I think I've been doing my job more often than I have in the previous years of doing everything that I need to do off the field, taking care of myself, taking care of my body more. So I think that showed up a little bit in staying healthy and staying available because I think that's important. But even on the field, though, I think what the coach has just been allowing us to do is just play freely. And he's given us clarity in our roles and what we need to do. So I think right now our team is really pushing to have one brain, and I think we're almost there in the sense of having that one brain. And I mean, we're moving good now, but I think once we get that last push, I think everybody will see it on the field.
Yeah, and you talked about bombing on, right? Because as an outside back, man, I played it a couple times when I was much younger and early in my career. It's very different from center back, obviously. How frustrating is it when you bomb on and you're wide open and you're like, oh, this is my opportunity, and you don't get the ball?
I mean, bro, it happens all the time. I mean, but it's not like you're going to stop doing it. I mean, you want to get your stats, but at the same time, you bomb on, you don't get the ball, you got to run back, and you just got to know that for the next opportunity there is, you got to keep going. And maybe you bomb on 10 times and you get the ball once, but for that one time, if you didn't slot it and get an assist, I mean, now you're looking at more stats. So I like it. I mean, I think it's demanding. It's a lot on the body for sure, but I think it's good.
It's that selfless running, those selfless runs.
Yeah, man. You got to be in the modern game. You got to be fit to play in the position Jack is playing. We've seen Jack. You're doing the job, man. As we've seen so far this season. Certain question here for you, Jax. So last week we had Yappy, and we asked him a question about who in the team could potentially make the worst podcast host. I'll pose you the same question.
The worst podcast host.
Who in the group would be the worst podcast host, and why would it be Yappy?
Are y'all revealing,
Are
y'all revealing who he said?
He did mention Paxton. I'm trying to remember. My memory is not.
He said six guys, but Paxton was
he
his
ripped off
first
a few
one.
guys. Yeah,
and then I think Jackson was the last one.
I believe
right?
so. Yeah.
He saved the best for last.
I think Dante would be a bad. I think he would be a bad host. Dante for sure. Probably a Dante and maybe a Zach Steffen.
Really?
Ooh. Why?
Why
Zach?
Because I'm going to be laughing too much with Zach. You got to have somebody who's more serious. I mean, I'm just going to be laughing.
So Zach's gonna have a fun podcast.
And then obviously Yappy. I think Yappy just
Obviously Yappy. Obviously
He
Yappy.
can't be no podcast host. So.
So, Jax, you being from Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
you know what it's like to have a good Southern dish, like a
Yeah.
really proper, well done, good Southern dish. Is there any Southern food in particular that you miss, or that you're just like sometimes, man, I wish I could have this like right now, even though I'm playing and need to stay fit.
Yeah.
This is the one dish like I love and need to have every once in a while.
One Southern dish. It's gonna just sound like diabetes. Probably. Fried chicken. Some good Southern fried chicken with some collard greens, probably cornbread.
Oh man,
Black
I haven't had
peas
lunch
maybe.
yet. I'm hearing this right
Black
now.
eyed
This-
peas.
Yeah. That would slap with some neck bones.
Oh, some neck bones.
And the collard greens, yeah.
What are neck bones?
Yeah, I'm about to ask.
Nah, it's just the meat that goes in the collard greens is good though.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe
All
that,
right.
but I had to say that for the all season.
Oh, just like sliced up in it?
Yeah, like in chunks, kind of like oxtail in a way.
Ooh.
Maybe that.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that for down the road, a couple months.
I was gonna say we won't tell if you sneak one of
Got-
those meals in
got
every once in a while.
skin
during the
fold
season.
Oh, skin fold. Yeah, we'll do it after skin fold.
I'm going sweet green tonight. Just give me a salad for the night. Make sure my body real skinny for tomorrow.
What about dessert? What's the dessert gonna be?
Dessert,
Oh, good follow up.
apple cobbler probably.
Ooh,
Ooh,
cobbler's
ooh,
good.
ooh.
Yeah.
I haven't
like
had lunch
that.
yet, man. That was not a good question to ask because I'm hungry right now.
All right. Well, after that, let's talk about some aggressive style soccer here that we play now with the Rapids. And you spoke about it earlier. Just the way it's a clear vision how Matt Wills wants us to play aggressive, right? Like with the ball, without the ball, just be dominant. Like, where do you see the club going this season, playing with this aggression and this style of play? What do you think the ceiling is?
I mean, I think the ceiling is unlimited. Like, I think a lot of people have already seen what we're able to do. And for us, we know we haven't really put it all together yet. And with the performances that we've been putting out and, like, how we're displaying how we want to play. But it's not all the way came together yet. But I think the sky's the limit for us. And then when we really get it going, I feel like we're going to be a top team in this division. And we see that this division is hard right now. Like, all the teams have been really moving and playing well. But I think we'll finish top in this division once we really get it going.
I agree, man. I think that should be the ceiling. I love the way we play. I think once we put it all together, it's a process, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's been fun to watch. It's been fun to be close and watch in
I
preseason.
feel like
and
the
stuff.
games are a little more like entertaining this year too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like the crowd can get into the games a little bit more than like maybe in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Another fun one here for me. If you could switch positions with one teammate for a game just for fun, who are you picking and why?
one teammate, probably like maybe Pax, like just so I could play like in the pocket on a turn and play like I don't know, maybe Pax, but definitely not gonna do it nowhere near what he be doing. So
What do you mean?
nah, ain't no way.
You step in there sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be in there, but
And it looks nice on the left foot.
the
Lefties
pocket,
always look
pocket just be fun.
Yeah.
Like just get up in there sometimes, but
create a little bit.
maybe a Pax.
If you lose the
play
ball,
there
it
sometimes.
doesn't like it.
Yeah, you
It
can
doesn't
still
mean as much as when
counter.
you're.
Yeah, you lose the ball in the back line. I mean, how this league looking nowadays, they're gonna go down and score. So, yeah, but maybe somewhere in the midfield. I don't know.
I like it. I like it.
Jacksinho on the back of your jersey
I think
with
he'd
the
be
number
great.
10.
in I think he'd be great in there.
I agree. Yeah, because we have seen him pinch in, every once in a while when playing. So it's like I don't mind Jack sneaking the midfield a little bit in the center of the park. Last one for you, Jax, that we have here, and in terms of earlier we were talking about sort of the ceiling or where you see the group, the team as a whole going this season. What about you individually, Jax? Are there certain goals or certain milestones that you want to hit this season? Any that you've kind of set for yourself or even discussed with the coaching staff about where you individually want to progress and reach at the end of this season?
Yeah. I mean, I guess for myself individually, I set like goals for myself pretty much like every month, and I try and crush them that month, and then move on to another goal. So, like for this preseason, my goal was to stay healthy the whole preseason and then start the first game of the season. So, I mean, I started the first game of the season. For the most part, I stayed healthy, didn't miss a day. So, and then for the next month, like I said, another goal would be to start the next 3-4 games and then hopefully tally like a goal or assist. And then hopefully I can move past that to then start getting my name in other areas, like play more, get up the field more, hopefully maybe as the year go, get my name in the national team set up. But, I mean, that's obviously down the road. So, hopefully, I mean, I just got to keep putting in performances, keep putting in games, keep getting minutes. So, I mean, if I keep doing that, I hope so. But you never know where it'll go. So just gotta keep your head down, and work.
I love that, Jax. I loved it at the national team show. I like that you guys heard it here first. That Jax is working towards national team, and we're gonna speak it into existence, and hopefully we can see something like that happen for you, Jax. So, Jax, that's all we had for you on the podcast, man. But like I said, happy to have you here in studio, in person with us here. You've been doing so well, man. Like we saw you in preseason, just put in the work and then showing your quality, and then it's paid off with seeing some of the minutes that you've been gone, and long may it continue, man. We love seeing you on the pitch, and seeing you, and even before that, man. All the years that you've been here with the first team setup with R2 and everything you've been doing, it's been so fun to watch you grow in the way that you have as a person and as a player. So long may it continue, Jax. Thanks for joining us on the podcast, man.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you.
All right, and that was Off the Pitch with Jackson Travis. But now, Drew, we're going to go straight into Around the Club. Just a little bit of news bites here and there of what's going on around the club here at the Colorado Rapids. To start, Drew, as of tomorrow, since we're filming on a Tuesday, Wednesday, March 18th, from then on, it's going to be 30 days out from the 30th anniversary game. That's crazy to think that this club has been around for that long, man. Still young, but it's still been a while. So the 30th anniversary game, that is the Colorado Rapids taking on Inter Miami. So Messi and friends, which again, like I said, man, it's a really unique opportunity to see the GOAT, the greatest of all time in Messi. I don't think anyone can really argue that. But also celebrate this club, man. Like I just mentioned it there, 30 years, and the Rapids have been there from the beginning with MLS. It's you look at your Austin FCs and all these teams that have joined the league later on, right?
Yep.
But to say that you're an MLS original, there's something about that, man.
Yeah.
There's just something about that that's so special.
It's pretty cool. It's been around longer than you, huh?
I'm gonna be 32 in a couple weeks.
Oh,
so I'm like to say I'm older than the league is kind of wild.
I gave you an opportunity there, but okay.
Yeah, I'm we got two vehicles on the show.
No, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait for this match. I think everybody's excited about it, as you should be. This is a special occasion, and we're celebrating, 30 years of this club, which, I think you and I both love and support so much, and to bring hopefully a lot of people together and do it in a big stadium with a special player on the field, and Lionel Messi should be a lot of fun,
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. So if you haven't gotten your tickets already, like I would say, please do so, because when it comes to crunch time, when it's like that week before, even a couple weeks, it could get a little tricky. So I would say just get ahead of it. Don't procrastinate like I did in terms of studying exams and back in the day. Don't procrastinate. Don't be like Mike in that sense. Get your tickets as soon as you guys can, because I think you'll benefit from just having that peace of mind of saying, I know I'm going to the game. My tickets are set. Good to go. I just need to show up on the day.
Hey, at least you studied for exams.
It's a good thing that you went pro like football. You were pretty good at it, I will say that.
Oh, thank you.
Only two MLS Cups to speak to it. So, no big deal. No big deal. So, again, please get your tickets well ahead of time so that you know for a fact you're going to make that match between Colorado and Inter Miami. Moving on to the next news item that I had for Around the Club, Drew. We had Snow Classico for R2 on Sunday. My goodness. I said I was going to go to the game, but like I mentioned, I was sick, and I don't know if being out in a snowstorm was
no, it's not a good idea.
The ideal thing to do. Because I did say I wanted to go, but I think the circumstances did not exactly present itself there. But Drew, you're on the sidelines, on those frigid sidelines. Good Lord. on the day.
I was actually up top, which was a little bit better. But you think you're like under.
See, here's the thing, Drew. You shouldn't have said anything so you can make it sound like you're more rigid and more like gritty.
I'm an honest guy. Well, I was still outside, and those covers don't, like the snow, because the way I guess the wind was blowing was like literally straight in our face. So I was up with our
video analyst
calling it. And, I've got the radio, so I'm, calling down what I'm seeing and stuff. But like, I had paper out, the paper is just like bleeding. I couldn't see the numbers, like it was the second half of this match. Like literally you can just throw the video away. Yeah. There's no coaching you can do. There's not a lot of learning or whatever,
Who wants it more?
Mentality. And exactly. Donovan Phillips scored twice, which is awesome. There were some good performances, but it was one of those matches it's almost like survive and you have to, your character and mentality is going to get you through here. Ended up losing in a shootout, which was frustrating, but it was one of those Snow Classicos. It just is cool, but it wasn't really that cool. during
So yeah, it was Rapids 2 versus Sporting Kansas City 2 for Rapids 2 home opener, their first match at home on the season. I mean, I don't think there was any really better way to do it than with snow just coming in, and literally 2 days later, as we're filming the podcast, it's gonna 70 degrees probably at this point.
Man.
Welcome to Colorado, everybody. Yeah. But we've mentioned it before, right? This side under Eric Boucher is obviously not going to settle for that. Like if anything, they're just going to put their heads down and work, and that's. Again, we've said it so many times, but it's just full faith with Eric Boucher and the work that he does with this group, and they're going to respond as well.
The first half before the conditions really deteriorated was really good, really dominant. We get the goal. There was we had a guy sent off with about 20-25 minutes to go as well, which made it difficult. But yeah, just keep building there. And another quick turnaround Saturday night. Actually, they play here at home, so. Eric and his staff and myself and the players are going to get back to work there.
Yeah. So again, still plenty of season to look forward to for Rapids too. And then moving on to the last thing that I had here for Around the Club, Drew, is in terms of Elevate, our mini doc series that we produce here at the Colorado Rapids. This week, a new episode will release, and it's going to be on Alex Harris, who obviously we saw recently, Drew. He's been getting, earned some minutes, impressed Matt Wells with the performance that he had, stemming back to the Sounders game for season opener when he came off the bench. And you could really see the influence and the impact that he could have on the team. Got the start against the Portland Timbers for the Rapids home opener as well. So I like Elevate just because, man, it's one of those things where you get the peek behind the curtain.
Yeah.
You get to get a sense of what it's like to kind of, see like how everything kind of works behind the scenes. Sure. Really, that's the idea behind Elevate. And so just get a little bit of like behind the scenes look with Alex and kind of how what his prep is like and what he's doing and who he is as a person as well, right? That's something I always try to emphasize is, it's so easy to get caught up in with looking at the last name and the number on somebody and deciding if they're worth your time and effort based on how they did on the weekend. Yeah. That's a human being you're also talking about as well. Listen, they're judged on their performances, right? But there's so much more to these players because they're human beings just like anybody else, right? So it's always nice to see, just kind of like get to know some of these players when we feature them on Elevate. This week's edition is going to be on Alex Harris. So make sure you don't miss that on Apple TV. Catch that on there later this week. That's going to do it for Around the Club, Drew. Now we move ahead to the match on the weekend for the Colorado Rapids. This weekend, they take on Sporting Kansas City. They will be on the road against Sporting Kansas City at Sporting Park. Here's the thing. I try to remember stadium names. I believe they've gone back to Sporting Park. They haven't done that name since I think they opened the stadium 15 years ago. A little more.
I think 2011.
I'm old. I think we established that earlier.
You are not old. You are a young man.
I have old man habits. I have to be honest.
You are an old soul.
I'll take that
and
as
that's
a compliment.
Good thing.
Yes, I will take that. I'm going to run with it for the rest of my existence. So, as I mentioned, the Rapids, they're going to go on the road to take on Sporting Kansas City, Drew. That match Saturday, March 21st, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff, with Kansas City being an hour ahead from Colorado. You can obviously catch that match on Apple TV, or if you're willing to make the trek out in Sporting Park, catch your Burgundy Boys take on Sporting Kansas City. Team comparison, Drew, between the two sides. So, Colorado, they're 2-0-2, sitting 7th place in the West. Sporting Kansas City, 1-1-2. 12th place in the West. So a little bit of work for them to do, but they will be at home and will look to take advantage of that opportunity. Points, Colorado have 6, Kansas City have 4. Goals, Colorado have scored 7, KC have scored 4 so far on the season. Goals against, 6 scored on the Colorado Rapids, 7 against Sporting Kansas City. Possession, average possession, 54.6% for the Rapids and 42.4% for Sporting Kansas City. And Sporting, coming off their last result, their first win and a big win for them on the weekend at LA Galaxy, where they win 2-1. The former Galaxy forward who helped them win MLS Cup, Dejan Joveljic, got on the score sheet. And then their new Norwegian midfielder that they signed recently, Lasberg Jonsson, scored in the 74th minute before Marco Roy scored in the 82nd minute for the Galaxy. But it was a 2-1 win nonetheless for Sporting Kansas City on the night against the Galaxy. Drew, we were talking about it a little bit off air in terms of what is the Sporting Kansas City side, right? So they're managed by Rafael Wicki, who came in the offseason. Previously was in MLS with the Chicago Fire back in 2020 for almost 2 years with the Fire. So, but we were, like I said, we were talking off air, but what is the Sporting Kansas City side, right? What is their style of play? What do they look like? What is a Raphael Wiki side at Sporting Kansas City? What does that look like?
Yeah, I have a hard time with kind of analyzing Sporting Kansas City right now because of they're in transition, right? A new, like you said, all the new changes. There's new players coming in. They set up in a 4-3-3, so I think that's what they want to play. They seem like they want to play with the ball a little bit, play through you, but they're most dangerous in transition. They haven't created a whole lot of opportunities. They've scored 4 goals this season, right? But 2 were in one game, 2 were in another game. Their expected goals isn't super high, and so really kind of pinning down exactly how they want to play for me has been difficult. And I'll be honest, I haven't seen them play a whole lot. I was able to watch a little bit of the LA Galaxy game, and they did look good in transition, right? And they've got some pace, right? Jovic he's not the fastest, but he's got a good enough pace. If he gets ahead of you, you're going to have a hard time catching him. They've brought in Calvin Harris, who we know well. He's got some pace. Manu Garcia is, with Berg Johnson kind of the pivot, right? Manu Garcia, does it free him up to find these line breaking passes? I think it probably does. They still have, is it Suleimanov? I always Shapi, get his name wrong, but he's kind of still floating around and getting on the ball and creating things. I don't know exactly what they want to be, and I think that's what can make them dangerous, right? At their place, they're coming off a good result against the Galaxy. It reminds me a little bit of the New York City game in that you're on the road, you're confident, you feel like this is a game that you can go and win, but if you get a couple moments wrong, you make a couple mistakes, that they can punish you, and so I do think this is a very good test for the Rapids coming off a tough result in New York City. You have to go and you have to be ready for a Kansas City side that is going to do a little bit of everything, or at least try to do a little bit of everything, and maybe use playing at home as a good baseline for them to have some confidence, play with the ball a little bit, and probably try to beat you in transition.
Yeah, it is a tricky matchup, Drew, just because be it the Rapids, for obviously for us because it pertains to the matchup on the weekend, right? But I think many other teams, particularly in the West, trying to figure out what is this Sporting Kansas City side. And I think and this is not to be demeaning to them by any means, because we talk about the fact that we're with Matt Wells and undergoing a process, trying to learn and pick up the style of play that the head coach wants to implement. And I think they're trying to do the same thing, right? And they have good pieces to work with. Jovic goes without saying. Manu Garcia, Calvin Harris, who we know, like you mentioned very well. There are good pieces, Drew, that I notice on the Sporting Kansas City side, which I think is still under construction, quite frankly. But they're okay with that and feel like they have confidence in some of the pieces that they have currently in the team. And watching some of the Galaxy game when they were at the Galaxy over the weekend, yeah, man, we said they're in 12th place in the West. They're sitting below the Rapids right now, but they're only sitting 2 points behind the Rapids, with it being on 4 points and the Rapids on 6. So they're not far behind if they were to get, or they could jump ahead if they get a good result against the Rapids. So yeah, it's just very, very tricky matchup, Drew, against Sporting Kansas City side that is in their own process right now of trying to iron out the kinks and figure out exactly what they want to do and what Raphael Wiki expects of his side. But dangerous nonetheless. Yeah. They have good pieces to work with, and it's going to be a difficult matchup. And the Rapids know very well it's a difficult place to play in Sporting Park against Sporting Kansas City. I will admit, though, it's hard to think of Sporting Kansas City without Peter Vermees because he was there forever, right? So it's right now in that phase of it's strange to see someone that isn't Peter Vermees at the helm of Sporting Kansas City. Moving ahead, Drew, to your opponent player to watch. Who are you going to keep tabs on Sporting Kansas City during this match?
This one is easy for me, and we talk about the teams both kind of in transition, and so that's a bit intriguing. But one thing, when Dejan Jovic is on the field, he's a dangerous player, and he's one of the more underrated, probably number 9s in this league. He's starting to get the credit that he deserves. He's scored 3 of their 4 goals, right? So he's in good form right now, and he does a little bit of everything, right? He's strong. He's not a big guy, but he's strong. He's just a good reference point up front for Sporting Kansas City. He can hold the ball up. He can combine. He can run off the ball. And when he's in the penalty area, he comes alive, right? This is when he makes his money, and so. He's the one that for me, you talk about some other good players around him, but they're all kind of looking for Jovic, I feel like. and he's showing right now that he can be very dangerous in transition as well. And so I think he's the one that you really have to, the center backs on the night, the communication with where he is, what he's doing, has to be spot on, because you don't want this guy getting, some confidence and feeling like he can go and score some goals and do what he wants on the night.
Yeah, man, he's a stud. I would say, like, he knows what he's about. He knows what he offers. I mean, there's a reason that Sporting Kansas City signed him on a DP contract from the LA Galaxy. Like, he's a stud. Like, he's very, very good. And like you said, maybe if anything, probably an underrated striker in this league, with the little bit of everything that he does. So I like that shout, Drew. On my end, in terms of a Rapids player to watch, Drew, no one specific, but more positional in this sense, where it's going to be the number 6, the defensive midfielder, the pivot, however you want to define it. Yeah. But that number 6, I think, is going to be very crucial for the Rapids, because, like we mentioned, it's going to be very. We're trying to figure out what exactly Sporting Kansas City is as a team, what their identity is, their style of play, and that's tricky for the Rapids in terms of how they're going to approach that. But you mentioned those transitional moments, particularly against the Galaxy, that Sporting Kansas City had on the weekend, where they look good in transition. So that's where it's going to be incumbent on the number 6, whoever that is, be it a Hamza, be it a Josh Atencio, whoever is in that position, to break up the rhythm that Sporting Kansas City can have, whether it's in transition, whether, as we know, Sporting Kansas City, they like to play with the ball as well, possess the ball. I'd imagine they're going to try to do so at home. So I think it'll be incumbent on the number 6 on that pivot to just break up the rhythm. If you have to put in a foul there just to break up the rhythm, do it. If you can steal the ball cleanly, go the other way, do that as well. The number 6 in that role, or if it's a double pivot, whoever's playing in that area of a part of the pitch for the Rapids, I think is going to be very key to just, like I said, break up the rhythm for Sporting Kansas City and find success. We saw just on the weekend, Drew, that it doesn't matter where the Rapids play, be it here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park or on the road, they can implement their style of play. And I think with the number 6 stepping up big time over the weekend, that's going to help them do that. And I genuinely think could walk out with 3 points from what is a difficult place to play, that is Sporting Park.
And you can break up their rhythm with the ball as well, right? And so can you control the match both with the ball and without the ball? And I think the pivots or the 6, Hamzat, Josh Atencio, Wayne Frederick, Connor Ronan, whoever it is in there, you can take a lot of what Kansas City are going to want to do, whether it's with the ball or without the ball, if you control that middle part of the field. So I think that's a great shout, Mike.
Yep. And then let's move ahead just to our keys, Drew, like we typically do. What's going to be your key to the match for the Rapids on the weekend?
Yeah, I think, and this is off the heels of the New York City match, where I feel like we kind of let ourselves down in the final third. I don't want to see that in Kansas City, right? You have to go and be ruthless in the final third, like we were in the final 15 minutes against LA Galaxy 2 weeks ago. You do all this good play and build out, and have the ball a lot, high percentage in possession against New York City, and then you don't go and reward yourself in the attacking third, And I do, as I said earlier, feel like this system really sets up well for especially the wingers, but even the 9 and the 10, whether it's Paxton and Hoffa, to go and be creative and do what you do and be direct and beat players 1v1 and get shots off, even if it's from distance, right? We've taken some shots from distance, scored some goals this year. Get crosses in the box, flood the box with numbers, right? Go and reward yourself for this good play and these good interchanges, and be ruthless in the final third. And it's a lot easier for me to sit here and say it than to actually go do, but go be free, go play freely and enjoy it, but be quality and really test this back line out, make them run towards their own goal, but just execute in the final third. And I think if you do that on the road, then a team like Kansas City that's probably asking a lot of questions of themselves and in transition, then you're really going to put them on their heels.
Yeah, no, I like that shout, Drew. It was just that little bit that was missing from New York, but we have seen this side, particularly the 2 home games that we've had so far here at Dick's Sporting Goods Park. Like, we have guys who can score and just kill off the game and let it be signed, sealed, delivered. 3 points for the Rapids. Now it's just a matter of doing it on the road, which I feel good about. But we said the same thing with New York, right? It was that's where this game comes down to moments.
Yeah.
And I think the Rapids kind of let themselves down in that sense, but we know what the Rapids are capable of. So on my end, Drew, with my key to the match for the Rapids, it's not going to be any X's and O's, nothing tactical, nothing really like that. It's just more on the mental side of it. So for the Rapids, whoever steps on the pitch as your starting 11 or any of the subs that come on, stay dialed in the entire time. So we saw against New York City, right, where it was just little moments that cost us big time, in terms of letting New York City score and walk out with all 3 points from Yankee Stadium. But then you look at, again, I think in various ways to kind of look at this in terms of how the Rapids will need to be dialed in for 90 minutes on the weekend against Sporting Kansas City is, we're coming up against a side that maybe they're still trying to figure things out, right? Maybe you're the Rapids and think, okay, this looks like an opportunity for us to take advantage of that, them trying to figure things out and steal 3 points from their place. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you don't want to rest on your laurels and when you're in the game and think, oh, we got this in the bag, or there's moments, I can take it easy a little bit, because it's like we talk about, Drew. This is a game of moments where in that moment, as we talked about, Sporting Kansas City can go in transition, or if they're on the ball more comfortably, they can go and find opportunities with some of the pieces that they have in a Daniel Vlic, Manu Garcia. They're dangerous players that they have on that side. So I think for the Rapids, it's going to be incumbent on them to just stay dialed in for all 90 minutes so that they don't rest on their laurels, but at the same time show what they're made of, show what a Matt Wells Rapids side looks like. And really just dominate, as Matt Wells likes to say, dominate Sporting Kansas City, even at their place, so long as you're fully dialed in, on both sides of the ball as well, and to kill off your chances, like you mentioned, right? Finish the play, score the goals, reward yourself with the good play that you do, and then on the flip side of that, on the other side of the ball defensively, just make sure that you don't let Sporting Kansas City, whether they're on the ball or in transition, just be mindful of positioning of players and minimize their opportunities on the Rapids on the Rapids goal. So it's like we always say, it's easier said than done.
Of course.
But again, I genuinely do mean it when I say that I do feel good about this matchup for the Rapids. Where, again, like we said, Sporting Kansas City, they're in their own process right now, and I feel like the Rapids are a bit further along in theirs compared to Sporting Kansas City. But it still makes it such a tricky matchup for the Rapids. Like we said, Sporting Kansas City, they have good players. They're starting to get an idea of what they want to do under Rafael Wiki, and you're on the road as well, man. Like that does play a role in all this as well. When you're playing these matches, regardless of who it is, whether it's top of the league or bottom of the league. So I do feel good about the Rapids' chances on the matchup this weekend. But you're on the road against Sporting Kansas City, and we know how difficult of a matchup that is for the Rapids, or for anybody, quite frankly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like the stay dialed in shout. Like, it's hard to win games on the road in this league. It is, and a lot of it is how you are up here. Are you tuned in? Not just to what's going on in the moment, but are you tuned into the system, to what where the pressure is coming from, where your teammates are. Especially in the build out play. And then if things do go wrong, right, like can we quickly solve the problem? Can we quickly make it right? And I think going on the road just throws so many different things at you that, if you can stay dialed in and tuned in and clear headed as much as possible, then, you give yourself as good of an opportunity as you're going to have. And then you go and play football and like I said, put it all together, and you give yourself a good opportunity.
For sure, Drew. Yeah, I do mean it. Like I feel good about this matchup. Good. I think it's the Rapids. I think have shown enough that, like, as Matt Wells has said, he wants to be the case. It doesn't matter where we play or who we play. Yeah. We're going to show what we're made of. We're going to play our way. We're going to dominate. And listen, the result is going to play out one way or the other, right? But I think the Rapids on their day can take on anyone in the league.
Agreed.
They can take on anyone in the league. But again, we're going through that process. We're going to learn and grow through that process as we go, as a club, and the players and the coaching staff. They're going to learn and grow from all the experiences, whether they win or they lose or they draw, whatever the case may be. But I feel good about it. Hopefully, I'm not sick going.
And you're going to be there, right?
Yeah, the plan is to be there. I just hope I don't get sick along the way. But I'm looking forward to it, Drew. I'm very much looking forward to it. It'll be my first road trip.
Good.
And a short flight over to Sporting Kansas City. So it's not, as much as I wanted to go to New York, I was like a 4-hour flight. I don't know about that. But
is that how you pick and choose your?
I don't pick and choose my flights. Okay. I don't pick and choose the trips I go to, man. It's the job, bro. You gotta go. Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, the players and the coaching staff do it.
They do. That's true.
They don't get to pick if they want to travel or not. That's typically not how it goes. So yeah, man, looking forward to this matchup against Sporting Kansas City. Did you have anything else before we close out?
No, I don't think so. But it's time to go when we're talking about the players and the coaches actually go on the flights to the games.
That's typically how it works. You do need to field a team. You do need coaches on the bench. That's last I checked. That's typically how it works.
Yeah.
All right, Jimmy. I think that'll do it, man. That'll do it. We'll put a cap on that episode, on this episode of the Colorado Rapids podcast. So make sure you guys tune into the match between the Colorado Rapids and Sporting Kansas City. That is going to be at Sporting Kansas City in Sporting Park. And a reminder, it is on Saturday, March 21st, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time kickoff, since we are, and it'll be an hour ahead in Kansas City. That's going to do it for myself and Drewby here. So my thanks to producer Miles in the back, and of course my good friend and resident Rapids legend Drew Moore. I've been your host, Mike Ravolo. Have a good week, everybody, and hopefully we're walking away with all 3 points for Sporting Park.